Hey tubes, how you doing? Jonathan was wrong here, truth in a budget. So there's something I kind of wanted to talk about. It's been kind of on my mind. It's been something I've seen sort of coming up, more or less. And that is this whole the whole compromise thing. The whole like that's a green light, hon. Okay, so let me start somewhere rather than just hopping right into it. So anyway, how the devil works is that he'll water things down. He'll cheapen the message just to get the message across. You know, if he can get you thinking about what he wants you to think about 5%, he's winning. All right, if an example is that huge Baphomet statue that they have in Salem in the Church of Satan or whatever the heck they call it, and then the Baphomet has no breasts, because if they put out naked breasts, people would complain. So there's no breasts on it, and that's a mild compromise that they have no problem doing. When you watch their meetings or have the minutes from their meetings, or how they go about making decisions for television shows, whatever, there's always a compromise. There's always a, we can water down the message just as long as the message is still there. Satan is all about watering down the message and just making sure that just a little bit, just as long as a little bit gets in there. Now, think about that for a second. Now think about every television show or music or movie or whatever that you've knowingly watched, knowing that it had some sort of a little bit of something in it that shouldn't have been there, that was evil. You know, think about that for a second. Think about how we've compromised to be like, well, this band is totally satanic, but man, I really like listening to them. Stuff like you can't. If you like an actor, you can't. It doesn't matter. It's if. I'm trying to think of a word to. Okay, clearly you see that there's a message there. I'm just having a hard time wording it. When we make little compromises. When we make little acceptances to say, oh, that's just the way it is, or, what are you going to do, blah, 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 Satan's winning. We're not supposed to make little compromises like that. God doesn't make little compromises like that. God doesn't do that. He forgives, but he doesn't make little compromises. Never, ever, 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 ever would he. Do we? All day, every day. Can we live without making constant compromises? Probably not. Unless you're like a freaking Quaker or something, or I don't know, that someone who can live 100% off the grid. Other than that, I don't know if any of us can live a 100% sin-free existence. It's kind of not possible while living here within the system. But do we make compromises and that was unsettling, and accept the chip? No, we don't. We don't. Is one worse than the other? Yeah, there are levels of sin. In the Bible, Jesus said it's basically, it's better. I'm paraphrasing here. It's better to knowingly commit suicide than it is to harm a kid. Now, suicide's one of the worst sins. So Jesus says it's better to commit one of the worst sins you can do than hurt a kid. So that tells you how you shouldn't do that, which is why the Satanists love going after kids, because you're not, it's one of the main things you're not supposed to do. It gets you sent to super hell, super jail. It's worse, you know, there are worse places in hell, it would seem. Because there are levels of sin. Is that compromise? No. It's just that some people aren't as evil as others. I don't think they get the same punishment. I don't know though. I could be wrong, but it seems that there's different layers of different levels of sin and a punishment for those sins. Otherwise, why would Jesus say it's better to tie a giant millstone around your neck and throw yourself into the deepest part of the ocean, ensuring that you will die, than it is to like you're better off doing that than harming a child. Because literally, that's Jesus telling you you're better off killing yourself. That's a heavy statement. Go ahead and think about that. But anyway, back to compromise. So the whole, it's just a little bit, we can't do that. As much as it sucks, as much as it means I gotta cut even more music out of my life, because I see it all the time, and I have arguments, someone will have a T-shirt or something, and like my buddy has a T-shirt from a metal band that says something like Christians to the Lions. It's like a Behemoth shirt or something, and I'm like, and he's like, don't get mad, it's just a shirt. I'm like, dude, it's not just a shirt. There's a message on there, and and I guarantee that band means it. And that's just something that we need to stop doing. We need to stop accepting stuff. We need to stop making compromises. We're not supposed to. It's not okay to. I mean, I make compromises all the time too, and I shouldn't. This is something that I also need to work on, I don't know. Just something to think about, because Satan is all about compromise. He's all about, he has no problem watering down the message, just as long as 1% of the message is put through. That means that we should not water down our message at all, ever. It means we shouldn't accept things that we know are wrong just because they're a little bit wrong. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, just a thought. Wish I had an easier time expressing things sometimes. Times. Anyway, I'm off to go work a 10-hour shift, so I'm gonna relax a little bit before I get there. I got about 15 minutes. Anyway, love you guys so much. Have a beautiful day. It is nice. They're trying to hose us, but it's nice regardless. And have a beautiful day. God bless all of you.